What is going on, everybody? It's Alex here, coming back at you with another video. Today we are doing the Los Angeles Chargers. This is a team that is my home team, this and the Rams, being a resident of Los Angeles. And I have mixed feelings on the Chargers. When they first came here, I was excited, and now I am extremely embarrassed. So let's kick in and just look at the team right now. So at quarterback, this is the biggest question mark for me. They drafted Justin Herbert 6th overall, I believe. And to me, that was the worst pick in the entire draft. He was worth maybe like where Jordan Love was picked. He could just be taking a shot on somebody who could turn out to be a franchise quarterback, but doesn't have like that much security in terms of actually being able to produce a starting quarterback role. But they also have Tyrod Taylor there, so either option I'm not really happy with at all. Next, we will go and look at the line. The line's just abysmal. They're just always abysmal. Forrest Lamp never turned out. And yeah, that's just that line is just getting worse and worse. It's kind of embarrassing. They didn't really do too much in the draft to address that issue. But it's whatever, man. I mean, the Chargers will eventually get the hint that they need a good offensive line to actually win games. Next, running back core. They lost Melvin Gordon, but they do have Austin Ekeler. And Austin Ekeler is pretty damn solid. So cheers to him. He's really damn good. I honestly think the Chargers should have picked up Cam Newton. I think that would have been the best choice for them. But, I mean, New England got to steal a potential franchise guy. So cheers to New England. But looking at the wide receiver core, this is their bright spot. They have Keenan Allen and they have Mike Williams there. There really isn't too much else in that core to be super excited about, but the team is, I mean, the top two wide receivers are definitely studs. And Hunter Henry at tight end is an amazing choice as long as he stays healthy, which in this series, everybody is healthy. So, cheers to the Chargers. I mean, they have a really good wide receiver core / tight end core. They just have a good receiving core. But on defense, it's up and down. They have amazing pass rush with Joey Bosa and Melvin Ingram. Amazing duo. Great duo. I think Melvin Ingram's a little bit underrated. For a time, he was overrated. Now he's underrated. No one talks about him at all. He might have an off year here and there, but he's super consistent in terms of actually just showing up. Joey Bosa is an absolute beast. No real need to talk about him. Interior defensive line, this is where they're bleeding. Jerry Tillery was not the guy who we thought he would be. I saw Jerry Tillery at Notre Dame, and I thought he was pretty damn good. I thought he would be like end of the first type talent, right where the Chargers got him. But man, I mean, it's kind of sad. Going into their linebacking core, it's another kind of a weak spot. But Kaiser White, I like him. He's pretty young. They just drafted, who was that? Kenneth Murray. I loved Kenneth Murray. He was like, I think my 18th player in the draft. They drafted him at 23. Not too huge of a fan on moving up to get him. But I mean, it kind of saved their first round from being a complete dumpster fire. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. That's all they really have as like in terms of solid linebacking talent at the moment. I'm pretty sure they still have Thomas Davis, but that dude's literally 36 or 37, so he's just there to coach kids up at this point. Secondary, this is kind of their bright spot on the secondary. Derwin James, absolute beast. Nasir Adderley was injured last year. We need to see him go and play. He has big time potential. Big time potential. Corner core, you still have Casey Hayward. He's a beast still. Getting older, but he's still super solid, very consistent. You have Desmond King there, and he's pretty solid as well. So, I mean, overall, the defense is the bright spot of this team, and it's honestly just been the offensive line that's been the issue why this team can never get over the hump. And unfortunately, they didn't address that, and then they lost their Super Bowl quarterback. And, like, people blame Philip Rivers for last year. I think he had, like, 17 touchdowns, 17 interceptions, something like that. And, I mean, yeah, like, some of those were his fault, but the poor guy has zero protection. So, we'll see how great he is now in Indianapolis. We'll actually see if it was Philip Rivers who tanked last season. Because this team is always on paper with Philip Rivers contending for the Super Bowl. So, we'll see how that goes. So let's look into week one. The Chargers lose to Cincy on Sunday. This better not be a Sunday night game. Thank God. Cincy, like Joe Burrow is going to want to prove something. Cincy's a far better built team. Their offensive line's far better. Even though LA Chargers, they have a pass rush. and they have a really good secondary. I do not think that the quarterback duo will be able to do much against the Cincy defense, even though Cincy has a shitty defense. The next week, Kansas City goes to Los Angeles. There's no real need to explain this one here. Just watch the Kansas City video I posted yesterday. Kansas City is far superior, and Patrick Mahomes is just that dude. So I think that Kansas City will be able to pick apart the defense, even though Chargers have a great defense. And LA, I mean, I think Tyrann Mathieu might have 2 to 3 interceptions this game. I think he's going to go fucking off, like insane. Next week, Carolina beats LA Chargers. Carolina has a pretty solid underrated defense, even though I've been giving them a lot of shit. It's not a good defense. It's just underrated. Matt Rule is an amazing coach. The rule restoration is a real thing, and I think Carolina hit the freaking jackpot by getting him. Offense, I mean, Teddy Bridgewater is going to be able to game manage, and that's the thing. Game managers destroy the Chargers. Chargers were able to beat Pat Mahomes 2 years ago because Pat Mahomes is not a game manager. He's just a freaking monster. So here, Teddy Bridgewater, he's just going to throw short pass after short pass after short pass to DJ Moore and Ian Thomas. And that, like, the linebacking core is where the Chargers are weakest. So he's going to target that. And the pass rush, you can't, like, that's why I think it might have been Joey Bosa or Nick Bosa. They were literally charging at Tom Brady. They told him to stop throwing so fast because, like, you can't get there if the guy releases the ball before you can even get there. So I think Teddy Bridgewater, this is what Teddy will shine at doing, but yeah, not a good game. Next week, Chargers going to Tampa Bay. Another no-brainer here. Tampa Bay's defense is far superior to LA's offense. They have an amazing D-line. Amazing D-line. No one talks about it. And the secondary is definitely comparable, super young. And the offense is the best offense in the NFL. Next week, similar situation here with New Orleans, and you're at New Orleans on Monday night. This should never be a Monday night game unless Phillip Rivers was on the Chargers. It's going to be a shit show. The next week, the Jets are going to the Chargers, and I've been preaching this all the time. Sam Darnold shows up against good teams and sucks ass against ass teams. And I think that that's going to be the scenario here. I think the Chargers, I mean, the secondary is amazing on this team. So I think that he's going to be seeing ghosts once again. And the New York Jets defense is just not comparable at the moment. They can't, even with Justin Herbert at the helm, I think that if they go a more game manager style to limit the interceptions, I think they'll be able to pick apart New York. The next week, Chargers go to Miami. I'm giving this one to Miami. They're pretty similar teams. Like, quarterback's kind of a question mark. Offensive line's not too good. And wide receiver core, I mean, honestly, wide receiver core is way worse for Miami than Chargers, but Miami's secondary is insane. Their linebacking core is okay. Their D-line is questionable, but Chargers are a bit better overall, but it's the Miami. The Miami effect is huge. So I'm going to give this one to Miami. Yes, I know. I'm prepared for Camel Wolf to point out my voice crack right there. The next week, Jacksonville, fully rested, goes into the Chargers Stadium. I'm giving this one to Jacksonville. They're fully rested. I've given so much shit to Jacksonville, but Jacksonville is going to be fully rested here, and they're going to be tanking, but they're not that crap. They have a lot of young talent. They're going to start to mature here, and we're going to see them start to actually feel a little bit more comfortable. The next week, Las Vegas goes to LA. I'm calling an upset here. The Chargers are going to win this one, whether it's Tyrod Taylor or Justin Herbert. The linebacking core for Vegas is actually pretty solid. It's not that great. So let me put it that way. They have Corey Littleton, and that was a great signing. But at the same time, you have one guy. You need to continue to develop every other position. There's not one dude on the defense. And I'm pretty sure Carl Joseph is no longer on the Vegas Raiders, and even if he is, they don't like him that much. He hasn't been producing. The secondary is a little bit weak here. So next week we have bye week, and then they go to Denver. It's similar to the Miami situation, except Denver's even better of a team. It's a Denver effect. So the next week you go to Buffalo, and Buffalo has a full week of rest in Buffalo. I'm giving this one to the Bills. The Bills, I mean, they're amazing defense. It's going to be a pain in the ass for either Tyrod or Justin to face this team. Tyrod facing his old team. I gotta give respect to Tyrod. He took a pretty abysmal Buffalo team and took them to the playoffs. And so cheers to him, but this LA Chargers team, like, the offensive line is 10 times worse, and then the wide receiver core is amazing, but it's not enough to handle Buffalo's pass rush. So the next week, New England goes. I know I'm going fast through these games, guys, but it's the same type of shit. Like, LA's offensive line is just garbo, and like games like this, which is going to be an upset because you're going to Los Angeles, and Los Angeles is a much different climate than Foxborough. Even with Cam Newton, I think that LA might be able to win this game just because Cam Newton still needs to get warmed up into this shit, guys. But we're going to continue this series talking about what it's going to be like with Cam Newton and without, since the series started without. So with Cam Newton, this game probably will go to New England, even though it's going to be a close game. But without Cam Newton, it's a toss-up with Cam Newton. Without Cam Newton, this is a no-brainer LA Chargers victory. The defense is just too good for that offense. Honestly, if we're going to be 100% honest here, regardless of the quarterback, LA is going to win this one. The offensive line is just not good enough at this point. Isaiah Wynn's been injured too much, and he hasn't really shown out when he's played. Shaq Mace's on the fucking trading block, so talk about his morale. And David Andrews is on contract years, stuff like that. It's not a good situation for New England. Next week, Atlanta goes to the Chargers, and the Chargers lose this one. Atlanta is they're more built for this type of scenario. Later in the season, Matt Ryan has that MVP all-starness in him, and I think it will come out this game, and he'll show out. Next week, the Chargers go to Vegas. Chargers ain't going to get 2 victories, guys, against Vegas. Vegas is going to be in their dome. They're going to be happy. They're going to be chilling. And Vegas is a solid team, so we're going to be talking about them next. But this is the record, but we'll continue talking about the other games. Yeah, Vegas is an interesting team. I would love to see how all this young talent is going to piece together, because a lot of their talent is very questionable. We don't know if Cleveland Ferrell is going to take a step up. We don't know if Damon Arnett is going to take a step up. Josh Jacobs is a beast. If he takes a step up, is he contending for the best running back in the league? The offensive line's getting older, but it's still solid. Is Derek Carr going to be his MVP type of guy? This is stuff we'll discuss tomorrow. The next week, Denver goes to Los Angeles. Denver's just such a powerful team, man. Their pass rush is insane with Vaughn and Bradley Chubb. And, I mean, I still think that Bradley Chubb might not have been the best pick. I'm not 100% sure if the Broncos picked before the Colts. But if they did, then I would have easily went Quentin Nelson above Bradley Chubb. Just because, I mean, I know hindsight is like 2020, but even then, it's like you have a potential guy to protect your quarterbacks, give them more time, which will lead to more victories. But great pick nonetheless, and the Chargers will suffer for it. The last week, LA is going to Kansas City. It's pretty much this game, but you have the advantage of Kansas City being at home in the winter, and Patrick Mahomes is going to freaking light it up. And it's unfortunate. I don't know if it's going to be a super high-scoring game for Patrick Mahomes, but I think that it'll just be a low-scoring game for the Chargers. You're not used to that environment. It's not going to be good. So let me know what you guys think, guys. 3-13. Honestly, I thought it was going to be a little bit lower of a record, but I felt like the New York Jets they aren't that good of a team yet. I've had them upset a couple great teams. And then Vegas, it's just like, I'm not 100% sure. I felt like it was an upset there. And New England, that pass rush of Chargers is just going to be too good for that offensive line. So let me know what you guys think. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you on the far side. Peace.